Hi everyone, I'm GeoAverage and today I've got a cracking couple of games for you on Battle Royale. I started off with Country Battle and I recorded this yesterday whilst I wasn't talking over the top. Could be the reason why I had a good couple of games. But within this video I've actually got 3 games for you. So 2 on the country mode to start with. And then I move into distance mode for the 3rd game, and I put some chapter links for this video, so you can skip to the different games as you would like. But I do pretty well, and I finally managed to win one of these on camera. I've won a few before when I'm not recording, but I finally managed to get something on camera, which was great, and they were quite an entertaining couple of games. Here, on this first round, I managed to go for, spotted the larder. I could see that it was somewhere in Eastern Europe, but I saw the larder. I went for Russia, and that's where it turned out to be, and it got me through to the next round. And then moving into the second round, I can see straight away that there's a football stadium here. The sign on the side, and I can see it's advertising, and I'm thinking that that's a beer, and still not actually sure whether it is or not. But I think that's a beer, and I'm not sure where it is. So as you see there, I guess Argentina. I don't know why, but then I zoom into that sign, I see what looks like Benfica, and so I go for Portugal, and that turns out to be right. So I managed to get through with a couple of spaces to spare for this round as well. And just whilst we're waiting for others to join, I'm having a look around, see if I can spot anything else on the stadium what would explain people knowing so quickly that it was Portugal. Here I can see immediately that this is the UK. Don't even have to pan around. Once I put the guess in, I've locked it in. I then just have a little look around just to confirm that I am in the right place, and it turns out that everyone got that right. It was pretty obvious. And then jumping into this round, again, straight away, I'm thinking Andorra. So I do a little bit of a pan around, but then just go straight for it so I can lock that in. And everyone's done the same thing as well. And we're through. So moving into the last 6, this now looks much more challenging to me. I thought, when it first came through, I was thinking Scandinavia. Looking at the sort of the crossing sign, I thought maybe it's America. And I'm guessing a number of other people did the same, because a few of us locked that in there, but got it wrong. I tried Canada, but it wasn't that either. So at this point, I am a bit nonplussed, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure where this is. I'm trying to have a little look around and start moving down the road. We've now got 2 out of the 5 spaces filled. We've got a guess of Czechia, and I think that's Bulgaria, the last guess there. None of those are right. So I'll carry on down here, see if I can find any additional clues. And as you'll see, there's nothing here really. The bar starts flashing red and I'm out of time. I go for the 50-50 and I'm really not sure which one, and I go for the wrong one. I'm out. So that's the end of the first game. I then went straight in for a second one. And on this first round, just checking that's a Euro plate on the car. Some beautiful views there, mountains. I'm thinking Switzerland initially, and I'll lock that in, but that is actually wrong. Looking at the mountains, they're a bit more sort of jagged and rocky. So then I think this is probably Norway, and that is the correct answer. And I'm first on the board there, which gives me a bit of time to have a little look around. So I'm still very much at the point of trying to understand, pick up clues from maps to try and identify the countries. I think I've seen these long dotted lines at the side of the road in Norway before. So that's a helpful clue. I think you do get dotted lines in Sweden as well, but I think that the lines themselves are smaller in length. So at this point, I'm just having a little navigate around, see if I can get a better view of the lake or the fjord, whatever that is, as we wait for the timer to run out. And it looks like we're going to have 3 spaces, and it's only 7 of us that go through. So into the second round, and straight away I can see that sign down on the left there, which has the Sensasau, I cannot pronounce it, and I put in a guess for Brazil, and that is correct. So that sign, I've struggled recently with being able to pick up Portuguese, but when it has that that sort of letter structure at the end, I think that's so distinctively Portuguese that made it quite easy for me. And again, I'm at this point just looking around. Some lads here looking at their bikes, quite girly bikes, but each their own. And we've got a couple of spaces left. So just having a little look around, trying to bide my time, see if there's anything else that you can pick up from the clues. Not the horse, I don't think that's really going to help you identify a country. Whilst we wait for the final place to be filled. Or for Hocker to get it wrong, but they get it right. They're through, 6 of us left. And for this round, facing a wall, so I pan round initially. The striped black and white curb, English words on the road, left-hand driving, and all looking very sort of spick and span. It makes me think of Singapore, and I'm first on the board again, so I'm really pleased with it at this point. I've got three rounds on the trot where I'm the first person on the board. Again, I'm just now looking around to see if I can pick up other clues that might help me in the future, just to use this time to further my my understanding of what sort of clues I can pick up from Singapore. Although I think generally Singapore is actually quite an easy country to recognise. Now we're through to the next round. So panning around here, I'm thinking that the buildings look like they may well be somewhere in Central Eastern Europe. So I'm just trying to pick up this sign and see if I can find out a little bit more information from that, any sort of language, word structure. Trying to get a better look at it. I was looking for a domain there as well at the bottom right, but it's just .com, and that doesn't help. But I've seen something here that makes me think it might be Poland, and it is. So that was just really from the words, the language on their sign that gave me that. It was a little bit of a pot shot, but it turned out to be correct, and with it, I needed it to be correct as well, I think, based on how quickly then the next couple of people went through. Next round, 4 of us left, and can't really see anything on that sign, but I thought maybe this is the US, maybe it's Canada, and it seemed to not give me Canada, but then it put me through, so I'm assuming it was. It wasn't particularly clear. and it moved me into the next round. And here I'm not sure what this is, but then I see that yellow number plate on the Mitsubishi, and I think that's got to be the Netherlands. And just in time, I make it through to the next round, where I straight away can recognise that this is the UK. Looks like the Midlands, somewhere in the Midlands, Birmingham, somewhere like that. Could be wrong, but that's what it kind of looks like to me. Put the guess in, notice that Christian's done the same, and we're both through. So we're into the next round, still the two of us. And this, I can see straight away, this is going to be more difficult for me. And actually, I've had this country before and struggled with it as well. And I know this is going to be difficult, so I just go for the 50-50 that I've got left. And I get it wrong. So not right, but at this point, Christian hasn't got it right. Until that point, he got it right. He realised it was Bhutan, and that means I finished second in this game. It was a good game. I think I did really well on that. Slightly disappointing not to actually clinch it at the end, but second place is pretty good, much better than my average, as you can see there. And I decided to then have a go at the distance mode to see what I could do on this newer mode, which I think I've got a worse average score on distance, but I'm actually getting on better with more recently. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm finding a few techniques which are starting to help me, I think. So generally speaking, I'm looking to get in an early to mid time range guess. So I'll have a little look around initially, see if I can spot any obvious signs, obvious information. Here, looking at that sign, I can see that it's the Netherlands, and I want to try and see if I can find either of those places. So because it's the first round as well, I think I felt like I had a bit more time to be able to do this. Put my guess in, and luckily I didn't see either of those place names, but I managed to be third on the board there. And it then presents us with the second round. So straight away I can see Blue Ocean Hotel. Looks like a nice hot and sunny country. So my initial thoughts are this is in Asia. Zooming into this sign, see if I can pick up any language clues. And as you can see on that sign, there is some other language other than English there, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm moving a little bit further down the road and see if I can pick up any further clues. At this point, I'm thinking it looks like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, somewhere like that. Trying to get a bit more information. Again, I haven't done my usual technique of getting in an early to mid guess, sort of a citer, if you will, so that I can then judge how people pass me or not as they guess as well. I find that quite a useful technique, and I managed to get through on that round. So moving into round 3, I think this is, losing track, and we're in a very wet looking country, but I'm not convinced where we are. See, we're driving on the right hand side. There's an English sign here. Looking at some of the cars as well as the signs and trying to figure out what sort of brand of cars are showing on the map. And for some reason I go into Middle Atlantic because I'm thinking of Hawaii. So I went into the wrong ocean to start with, but I've guessed for Hawaii, and I end up towards the bottom end of the pack. So I'm not convinced by that. I think maybe I need to be in lower down in another island. So I get a guess ready and hover over the guess button just in case I need to click it. And it turns out to be American Samoa, so that explains why I wasn't close enough. quite a variety of guesses there, and no one actually getting it spot on. Moving into this round, the big red barn makes me initially think of Norway. So that's my first thought with those red buildings. Trying to get some information from the signs here, indicating some places. I'm not convinced it's Norway. So I'm trying to decide at this point where I go, and I just go for the middle of Norway, middle of the southern part of Norway, I should say, right in the centre. So that's another thing that I've been using a lot of, is just trying to go reasonably central with the initial guess, and then that gives me somewhere to move on from. It doesn't work for every country. Some countries you generally get much more footage from one place in that country, and so it's much more likely to be around that area. But for a lot of countries, I find that going in the middle for the first guess is not a bad technique, and you can always then put in another guess or two in different parts of the country. So looking at the edge of the picture whilst I'm waiting for that counter, see the stripe side of the road there. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if I've seen that before. So I'm now zooming in on these signs and see what I can recognize. Nothing jumps out at me until I see Kiev, but that's 769, presumably kilometers away. So I find Kiev and then go pretty far down south in the Ukraine. I'm not sure of the distance. I'm not sure whether that's 769, less, more, but I'm going to put it down there, and it puts me in the middle of the pack again. So, in this game, not being the closest in any particular round, but just middle of the pack, it's getting me through each round at the moment. And again, I get through to the next round, which straight away I'm looking at that sign on the right, Mistrowski. Sounds Polish. So I think I'll have a little look around, see if there's anything else. But at this point, I'm thinking we may well be in Poland. I can see the domain name on that sign. It confirms that it is Poland with the .pl. But I want to just have a little look and see if I can pick out any major place names before I put in a guess. So looking at a couple of signs, can't see anything that jumps out at me, so I go for Warsaw, roughly in the middle, again just putting somewhere roughly central, and I'm very close to another couple of guesses, so I'm starting to think maybe we're in or around Warsaw, so I put in a guess on a different part of the city, gets me closer, still not in first place, but I'm safe at the moment. I get a guess ready, but I don't need to use it. And then there's four of us. So another stadium. This time I pan around to the left, and I think straight away I'm able to see the football club name. And for some reason, I know Olympiakos is in Greece, but for some reason, in my mind, it's in Turkey. So I go to Istanbul. I, for a moment, think about whether I should zoom in and try and find the stadium itself, but then I decide just to go for somewhere that looks like it may contain a stadium. And I put the guess in and I go second, but I notice that I'm 400 plus miles away from the next best guess. So I think maybe then, is it actually in the capital? So I put in another guess in Ankara. So you can see here, I'm just avoiding those hills. I don't think the stadium's going to be there. So that gets me, I think it put me a little bit closer. So it kind of made me think, yeah, I'm obviously in the right sort of area, but maybe it's a different city for Olympiakos. And then obviously the map pops up and it's Greece. And I realise that it was Greece, and I knew it was Greece. I have no idea why
I went for Turkey, but I'm through. Somewhat luckily, I think. 3 of us left, and I'm thinking initially for this round, this looks like Iceland, but it doesn't look like Iceland. I try and move a little bit further down the road, but I'm not seeing that it's going to be particularly fruitful, so I put in a guess. I put in one of my sighters, and I'm a long way away. So I think maybe then it's Greenland. I'll put in another guess, and I'm still a long way away. So at this point, I'm really not sure what to do. It's not Iceland, it's not Greenland. Desperately trying to think where it could be. You see here, I'm just trying to get around to the sign, but I can't see it. And then for some reason, Lesotho comes to mind. And I'll put in a guess at the last second, and Trollken must have been very annoyed with that. He was doing the best all the way through, I think. And then I pipped him to it right at the end of that round and managed to make it through to the final. So down to the last 2. I'm thinking Thailand at this point. So it looks very much like Thailand, maybe Cambodia, somewhere like that. I think because of the concrete roads, I decided to go for Thailand. At this point, well, initially 1,200 miles ahead of Mukurakudo, who then gets closer. So I decided to use my guesses. I'm just going to put a few different guesses around the map. I've got a number of guesses left, and I put one much further north in the country there. He puts in another guess, he or she, and is within 25 miles. Another guess comes in, doesn't make a difference, and time is up, and I've won the round. Finally, I've managed to win a battle royale on camera, which I was very pleased about, particularly after the last game, which I think was also a good one, and I was kind of unlucky to finish second. Very happy with that. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.